My dears, so today we're going to make a craft project using withies, which if you read my previous blog is a pliable twig, basically, usually from a willow plant or something like that. We are currently in my backyard, and I am going to use this little nifty thing to get some of these plants here. So we're looking for something that's kind of not too thick like these, and also not too thin. And of course we want something with good color as well. I would like something that's kind of a dark brown, and I think I see one right here that I like. I'm going to go for this one right here. So, there we go. Now, you can of course take these from nature. These plants are all dead, so I'm not really hurting anything. And it's a little thin up top here, but that's okay. I'm really just going to use the bottom portion, and actually this is a little thin, but I'm going to use this to make my new pen and pencil holder for my new sewing studio. So let's head inside and I'll show you what else you need. Let's go. Alright, we're going to take some stuff here in the garage, because I got a lot of good sticks here, but they've got all this stuff on the top of them, and I don't want to bring all these little leaves and things inside my sewing studio. So I'm just going to take one of them, toss those over there for now, and I'll grab a little pair of scissors. I got a pair right here. And we're just going to trim all these off, these little extra things that we don't need. We don't want them on there. I don't want to bring them inside. So we're just going to trim them off. And I won't go all the way up to the top, just high enough to where, you know, the main branch will be too thin to really do anything with, and then I'll use the clippers to cut the rest of that off. So I'm going to finish cutting all of these off outside so I don't get all this mess inside, and I'll meet you in there. Okay, so I've got all my sticks here, and now I'm going to start cutting them. Now I've got my old pen holder right here. The palm trees have come off of it over the years, and I'm going to use it as a template because I kind of like the size of it and everything. So I'm going to take all these pens out, and what I'm going to do is pick a stick. This one looks fine, and I'm actually going to use the thinner parts of this, and I'm just going to kind of measure it. This one I'm probably going to go maybe a little bit taller, so I'll go to about here, and you want to grab a pen and kind of mark where you want it to end. And I'm going to cut this one piece, and then I don't have to measure it again because I can just use that one piece to measure the rest. There you go, you've got that. So I'm just going to cut enough of these to go around this whole thing basically. I might do it a little bit thinner, kind of go on the inside around it. Okay, so I've got all my pieces cut out. I've got 24 pieces here. You can see they're all different shapes and widths and colors and things. I took them from 2 or 3 different branches. And what I've done is I've kind of trimmed up the edges here so that they're not so rough with the scissors. And so I've got about 24 pieces here. They're about 4 or 5 inches each. And then I've also taken some thicker pieces for the bottom, and I've kind of measured it on the top of this, but you can see they're all different sizes. They make kind of a circle. What was very important here is that these were all the same width, same thickness, and that, you know, they're cut properly, very straight, that they sit flush with one another, and that was very important. No knots. I had to cut away the big knots and things, cut around those. So I've got all my pieces cut. Hopefully you can figure out exactly how many. So I've dabbled my little bit of hot glue, just a couple little spots between each of these. You see I got a nice circle here, and I made sure to do it while it was flat on the table so that I could be sure that it sat flat. Now it's going to be a little flimsy. That's not a big deal because we're going to reinforce it with some hemp, and you can get this. I got this for $5 at Michael's, and of course they have coupons every week in the paper. And all I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to take a little bit of hot glue and dabble it in a spot somewhere around, let's say right here. Just someplace that's kind of open, and I'm going to stick that hemp right into that glue. Just like that. I'm going to give that a second to dry, and once it's dried, I'm just going to kind of weave it in and out of these, just to give it a little more reinforcement, and it also gives it a little bit of character and personality as well. Never touch hot glue, by the way. I'm a professional. So that seems pretty dry. So you might have to work it a little bit to kind of get it in between here, and you want to be careful because hot glue isn't very permanent. Like that, for instance, I just snapped it right off, and I can just re-glue that. It peels right off, and you just re-glue it. Not a big deal. It's really only there to kind of guide you and help you out when you wrap these up. Okay, so I've finished this. This is my bottom. You can see I just weaved the hemp in and out on either side, and I reinforced the middles, all of them, with hot glue. This is going to be the inside, and this is going to be my bottom because it looks a little more finished. So I'm just going to set that aside for now. And what I've done here is I've taken 3 lengths, pretty long lengths, of hemp, and I've tied them around the ends and the middle of one of my side sticks. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dabble just a little bit of hot glue on each of these strings. I've figured out that this is the easy way to do this. And I'm just going to take another one of these and stick it right on top of there. Now I want it to sit even on this, so I'm going to have to put it down like that and make sure that it's flush on the bottom. And now I can flip it over and do the same thing again, but I'm actually going to do 2 spots in the middle this time. The first one I did it on the knots to keep the knots, but this time I'm going to put 2 in the middle and stick this, whoops, without getting the strings, the hemp in the glue. I know it takes a lot of maneuvering, and you've got to do it quickly because that hot glue dries very, very fast. And it'll be loose in the middle, so you can always pull the strings through and straighten them out later on. So there you go. Now I've got this, and my strings are on this side. So they'll be woven, and then once I get them all the way around, then I can just go back and weave them right through again, and I'll have these little middle sections with no glue to do that with. So the trick is to not make a straight line. You've got to keep it curved. I've got about half of it done here. I've used 12 pieces, and you can see the ropes is nothing like I want it to be. It's not straight at all, but you know, it's still fairly loose to where I can move it around and adjust and, you know, do whatever I want with it. But I'm not going to worry about that right now till I get it done. These 2 pieces just keep falling apart, and that's going to happen. It's going to happen, but you can see it still stays together because of the hemp. Now it's very important when pieces fall apart to peel off the glue, the dried off glue, because otherwise glue won't stick to itself, and then it'll get farther and farther and farther apart each time it breaks. And these 2 pieces for some reason have been giving me a real problem. But don't do it in a straight line. Just every 2 or 3, you know, just put it inside, or be sure that you're getting there. If you've got, like I did, an even number of sticks, make sure that you aim for that half of it makes a nice half circle, so that you're able to do this, and it makes a little cave thing there. And you know, mine's going to fall apart because it just snapped. But I'm going to finish the rest of this here. All right, so I've glued the entire thing all the way around, and then what I've done is I'm going to work around the top first, and I'm just going to kind of push this hemp around, weaving in and out, kind of work it, make sure that they're somewhat even, and that it's pulled a little more tightly. Of course, it was loose when I put it through. And then I'm just going to weave it around here and just kind of go in and out, and all the way around. Of course, working it that whole time. It's a lot of moving around, maneuvering. I've cut the length a little bit shorter now that I've got a better idea of exactly how much hemp I'm going to need. And sometimes if they're a little looser on the top, I can just kind of push it through from the top rather than having to weave it. But in some instances they're really close to each other on the top. I'm not able to weave it through. And I'm going to do that for the top, the middle, and the bottom. And I've gone all the way around except for these last two, and that'll give me a little extra space to kind of work with it in the middle there. Alright, I'm all done. I have put the hemp around the entire thing the way that I want it. I sealed it up and I glued the inside of it here. I don't know how well you can see it on the camera, but I basically put a line of hot glue between each one of the sticks. Now I know it looks a little rough from the outside right now, especially over here, but I can cut that out with an X-Acto knife. And I'm just going to take my bottom here and just kind of fiddle this around a little bit till it's in a good spot. And all I'm going to do is just take my hot glue and just go nuts and just stick it on there. Oh no, I think I was doing it this way. There we go. Not bad. Put my pen in there. There you go. That's what it's going to look like. Pretty good. Now, like I said, I'm just going to take an X-Acto knife and cut out all this extra glue, and I'll take a picture of the finished product for you to put in the blog. So, thank you so much for watching. This is a pen holder made out of withies, which are pliable twigs, and I'm just going to make a whole new desk set out of it. So I'm going from a Florida desk set to very natural, very wood. So there you are. There you have it. Thanks for watching.